And I would also like to associate myself with the comments that Representative Massie is about to deliver. So thank you.
Boy, that's a good license.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to change the topic of what I was going to speak.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're going to say,
That's
but
dangerous. We're living dangerously.
Ms. Massey.
I do want to associate myself with the remarks that Ms. Kamek made, because we sat down here and realized that we were making the same proposal. It must mean it's a great proposal to change the rules. The American people, this proposal is for the American people. I haven't found a single American who disagrees with this proposal. In fact, I'm a little bit embarrassed at how modest it is, because back home they're going to say that doesn't go far enough. Yet here, I'm afraid it's going to seem radical and take a lot of work to convince people to adopt it. But it would increase the integrity of this House, and the work product would be better that comes out of it. My amendment is simple. We have a lot of rules here, very good rules. I just think we should follow one of these rules more frequently. And so what my amendment would do is require a 2/3 vote of the full House to waive the current 72-hour rule that gives us 72 hours to read the bill. Now, a little bit of history on the 72-hour rule. It used to be a 3-day rule under Republicans. And I would guess a lot of the reasons you were here at 11 o'clock at night is the text of the bill was not available until 11:50 on the first day, but the parliamentarian said that counts as a day in our 3-day rule, and so we could shorten it. And then on the third day, we would vote in the morning, and so you could collapse the 3-day rule into maybe a 30-hour rule. The Democrats, I have to give you credit.
Thank you.
I will probably never do this again, but you changed it from a 3-day rule, which we cheated on all the time, into a 72-hour rule, which required an honest-to-goodness 3 days, 72 hours between when the text was available and when we voted on it. And I was a little bit incredulous at the time because it seemed like such a good change to me, something I had advocated for a long time. But it wasn't but a few weeks until that rule got suspended, and then regularly has been suspended for 4 years. And so I think if we put this 2/3 requirement in before suspending that rule, that will help things. The 2/3 requirement on the 72-hour rule would include floor votes on bills that go through regular order, floor votes on bills that bypass committees and go directly to the floor, and conference reports as well. I had a chairman of a committee that I served on once, and he committed candor, so I won't give you his name. He might be prosecuted for candor. That's a sin in Washington, D.C. He had a bill ready right before August recess, and we asked if we could, members of the committee asked if we could get a little peek at that bill because we were going to vote on it when we came back from August recess. And he said, legislation is like roadkill. The more it sits out, the more it gets picked apart. And so we didn't get to see the bill until we came back from August recess. He was being honest. Now, that's the view from inside of Congress. I don't know why a chairman would call his own bill roadkill, but what he's saying, what he's conceding is that when you open a bill up to public scrutiny, the bad things in it will be found. And I'm under no illusion that if you give us 3 months to read a bill, that all of our colleagues will read the bills. I mean, you all are on the Rules Committee. You're probably the most informed of any of the members of Congress because you have to read the bill and know the bill to write the rules for it. But our colleagues aren't going to read all these bills, but their constituents, if we give them 3 days, 72 hours, the bill text goes up, the media can report on it, and then by the third day, we have that vote, and there's a chance to get this feedback mechanism going that is so important in a republic like ours, or democracy, whatever you want to call it, representative democracy. So this is what I'm proposing, and in the spirit of my proposal, I'm giving you a full month to review it before we have to vote on it. And the objections that I expect to encounter will actually be from the majority, regardless of which party is in the majority, because the argument will be from the majority that, oh, you're you're making us go to the minority side of the aisle. You're making us go over there if we want to pass legislation quickly. And we worked really hard to get the majority and to get this power, and we're not going to give any of it up. But I would suggest to the majority that if we take the high road, America will be better off, the institution will be better off, and we'll produce better legislation, and we can set an example. If we buckle up and do this for 2 years, regardless of who has the majority next time, it'll be hard to undo this because the American people will get used to it, and they will demand that, you know, maybe we don't read the bills, but we have time to read the bills, that they have time to read the bills before we take action on the part of 750,000 constituents back in our district. So I urge the adoption of this amendment, and thank you for indulging me.